You're doing a build now, but there's not enough RAM to go around.
Give me a break! I'm doing what has to be done.
You keep telling yourself that. Hate to break up the set.
It's time your CPU is not the bottleneck anymore. MSI Raider A18HX featuring the AMD Ryzen 9 9955HX 3D processor with 16 performance cores and 144 megabytes of second-gen AMD 3D cache technology. Not just the world's fastest mobile gaming processor, but also a great workhorse for creators. It's for those with extreme performance needs and no compromises. MSI Overboost Ultra technology delivering 175 watts of graphics power to the RTX 5090 plus additional 85 watts to the AMD Ryzen 9 9955HX 3D processor. That's a 260 watt total portable power, and the CPU allows full overclocking for the enthusiasts. Plenty of I/O including 2 USB 4 ports, full-size SD card reader, and an RJ45 port. 18-inch mini LED 4K display with 120Hz and display HDR 1000. Gen 5 NVMe with a dedicated heat pipe for cooling. Whether gaming, creating, or AI workloads, it delivers in all fronts. Check out more information in the description below, as well as our full video on this laptop. Thanks AMD and MSI for sponsoring this part of the video. I'm actually going to start with the power supply, because I have recently ruined quite a bit of tech on this channel because of the slippers and the carpet. And the slippers I've been using must be like very rubbery. So when I'm walking around, I'm creating a lot of static. And then when I'm picking stuff up, I've actually ruined a few things. For example, these M.2 enclosures that I've been using, I've ruined 3 of them. They've just completely died. Interestingly, the SSD inside is alive, but the enclosure just dead, which is interesting. So the way we're gonna solve this is our power supply, 850 watts. I'm hoping it's gonna be enough for this build. So plugged in the back, and when I'm turning it on, now I've been earthed and everything should be fine. Okay, this motherboard is giving it away what type of platform we're going for, but I needed a beast of a platform because I need 10 gigabit Ethernet. It's one of the main reasons. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Can we even fit this in? Oh no, this is bad. I should have checked it before, but it doesn't fit into there. No, like this screw is in the way. So basically the trouble is in this corner right here. Like there's a standoff right over there, and technically it could go past it over here, but this is just an ATX case. So basically what I need to know is, do I have another ATX motherboard with 10 gigabit Ethernet? But I really wanted this motherboard. This is eATX though. Okay, change of plan. And I suppose maybe that's a bit of a good point to make about the Creator motherboards on Asus ProArt. They are all ATX motherboards. But I really wanted this one. Look at this. You've got this mint like display and everything that would be absolutely amazing in there. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to make another PC build then for this one. If you haven't seen this motherboard video, I was quite proud of that motherboard video. Now, this is X670E, and if you know, there's already X870E, but X670 is completely fine in this case because it still supports all the same things. I've got 10 gigabit Ethernet, I've got USB 4s. We might have to update the BIOS, but if you want motherboards for AM5 socket, actually X670, there's not that big of a difference, and you might find them even cheaper. Now, the nicer thing about the newer motherboards would be that it would be a bit more easier DIY. we're gonna have to do some screwing in here, but regardless, I think it's gonna be good. So the CPU I'm gonna be using is their AMD Ryzen 9 9950X 3D. So this is the first time I'm building my personal rig on AM5 platform. I've tried the Threadripper before, but now I'm gonna go AM5, and this is the full-on gaming CPU. So I'm not gonna be doing any gaming on it, but I just wanna know what it's gonna be like, and if that's gonna be any good. Okay. That's installed. Now, next off, what we're gonna be doing is M.2 SSD, and I'm gonna go PCIe Gen 5 because I want the absolute best. What I have here is the Samsung 9100 Pro, 4TB NVMe. Plug it in there, that down, swap it, and then screw it in. Then next off, we've got some RAM, and as a creator, I need quite a bit for this. So we're gonna go with 128 gigabytes of DDR5 6000. I understand that this is super expensive right now, and if I was actually buying the RAM right now, I probably wouldn't do it. But since I've already bought it before it was mental, then it's justified, right? I'm gonna install this a little bit differently this time. Now, you have heard what I have said in my videos that AMD is not as good with the memory controller. So this is definitely out of AMD's spec. And I really wanna know if we can actually run this spec or not. Can we get the 6000 speed out of these RAMs or not? Well, you might already know that, but we're gonna find out. Look at these black boys. If you do want to check out any of these things that I'm using, any of the parts, I'm gonna leave the link in the description below, where you can also find our mailing list. So if you're a creator and you want to know the latest news about your hardware workflow, if there is any hardware that is new in the workflow, then I highly recommend signing up for that mailing list. Okay, I think we're gonna have to take this side panel off, which is this screw in here. So as you can see, there are MATX boards here. So eATX does not fit into here. This hole in here is gonna be in the way. See, we even have to do these, get these fans out of the way. Okay, now this just slides off. I'm just gonna take, proprietary fan connectors, RGB and PWM all together. Okay, motherboard is in, and while we're in here, what I'll do is I'm gonna put some of these cables in from the back already, because that might be a little bit difficult later on. So what we want is front panel audio. This is these fans headers. That's the front panel. These other ones we can do later. So front panel into there. So these fan cables that came proprietary connectors. On the other side, there's PWM and ARGB. So these we can nicely put on the bottom here. Now we can even put this back. The next thing we can do is actually the power supply. So the way this power supply goes in is actually fascinating. You're just gonna slide it into there. But before we do that, I believe this bracket here is gonna come out. Yes. 4 screws for the power supply. Okay, now when the bracket's on, into the back, then screw that back. Very different power supply building experience. Interestingly, the way I could put it the other way as well. Let me think. Oh yeah, this is gonna be difficult to plug that cable in. So I'm gonna put it intake from the bottom and exhaust from the top. So I can easily flip it. And now, ooh, they haven't thought about this very well. I wonder if this plugs in or not. Huh. Look, this is a bit of a design fault because this does not properly plug in to the power supply. Let me see if that is true. If I pull this out. Yeah, see, even with the bracket, this bracket is in the way you put the power supply in there. But I think it's still gonna work. But when I put this screw in there, that screw hole is gonna be even more in the way. Yeah, the power supply is not gonna move anywhere, but maybe I'd be able to plug it in. This is nice though, isn't it? Look, all of our power supply cables in there without having a special like side-mounted power supply. I think when it comes to PSUs, they're often one of the most overlooked parts of the PC build. You don't put supermarket fuel into Ferrari, neither should you have a low-quality PSU for your high-end PC build. Perhaps you've never heard about the FSP Vita GM lineup. Well, they're producing very high-quality PSUs. It's got all the flashy standards you want. In fact, it's sold as 80+ gold tier product while achieving platinum level efficiency. And they offer 10 years warranty, so that ticks all the boxes for me. Motherboard. I could even do it this way. CPU. I need one extra PCIe cable. The included cable for the 12-volt high power is actually very nicely sleeved. So sometimes you get them all these like cables separately, but I like that they've put this shrink around it. Make sure you fully seat that in. Now back on this side, CPU to the top, and just bear in mind when you don't have the top panel installed in this case, the case is a little bit more fragile and a bit more bendy because the top panel gives it rigidity. Starting to look good. Now I'm gonna install some extra fans because these bottom ones are gonna feed the GPU. I want the rest of the system to get good airflow as well from the front. And I've got nothing better than these Noctua Chromax. So this is new, 140mm fans. There is no 120mm at the time of me making them yet in terms of black versions, but these are gonna go very, very well. And this dual system here, on the back, what you can see is PPB and then PPA, which means that they are slightly going to run at different speeds. So when they're in the front, they're going to be extra quiet. If you've seen this before and you are subscribed, double tap the screen right now. But if you haven't subscribed yet, then you're part of the 80% that are watching the videos but are not subscribed. Consider subscribing so you don't miss the future uploads. You can already make these fans run at different speeds in BIOS if you run them into different PWM headers on the motherboard. So the tip here is that if you've already got the system, just separate those fans out a little bit and make them run different speeds. But because these are already at different speeds, what I can do is literally have a Y adapter, which means one cable into two. In terms of cable management wise, it's just going to be so much easier pushing that into there. And I've got one extra one here. And this is gonna go in the back. Oh, the nice thing is that if I do it this way, I can literally plug it into that place over there. Look, this is so cool. You can put the cable into there, or I'll run the cable somewhere from the top here into the back, but I think this is a much nicer way. This is a cable extension from Noctua as well, which I'm probably gonna need to plug in, but I'm gonna put this back. This goes into there. That keeps all of our cables nice and clean from here. Look at that. That is actually very nice. This here can actually be moved up and down, and I'm looking from here, I might need to move it slightly up. Now when this is loose, look, this can move up and down. So we want to put our GPU in first here. And then, I know this is not ideal for all the cables underneath, but honestly, for now it's fine. Where's our GPU? Because that is going to be a beast. I do have one downside about this GPU, and you can find that out in the dedicated video. I mentioned that over there when I tested it, but it's so beautiful. and it's just gonna fit into there perfectly well. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Look at this. Oh yeah. See how this GPU bracket can move? I'm just gonna move that GPU bracket up so it would hold it and then tighten it down from this side. So this is not gonna move. Then I'll put these screws back on this side, and then now. This is quite a backwards build because at this point, usually you already have a cooler installed, but I'm gonna do it very much backwards and then install the cooler like the last thing, which actually puts the whole case together, which is interesting. And then now we can move this all the way down back there and then tighten this up. You could move it all the way up if you wanted to, but I think this is really nice. It just kind of finishes the PC off really nicely in this and keeps it nice and clean on this side. There's a front panel here as well. Oh, this is an interesting one though. There is a mesh filter in the back over here, and that's to actually filter out the power supply, you know, exhaust. But the thing is, I'm gonna just move the mesh on this side because I don't need to filter the air that's coming out, because that's just gonna restrict the airflow out, because I want this to get out as fast as possible. I'm gonna leave the actual mesh in this side. The other thing I need to figure out is, where are we gonna put the power cable for this? I wonder if there's some cases online where they show this. Okay, they moved this right down from here, so from the middle down, so I guess we're gonna have to do the same thing. We'll take this off. There we go, perfect. Perfectly right way as well. Make sure your power supply is turned on. This is as in as possible. Look how clean this now looks from the front. Now we need to install the cooler, or the whole top of the case. Ooh la la, which is this guy here. So, the way this will work is okay. And then now the cooler gets, how does the cooler get attached? Okay, the good thing is this can go whichever way on, but I'm probably gonna have it this way. Look how good of a color match almost is between these GPUs and this here. I know this is more silver and this is a bit more like bronzy color, but to me it kind of looks very similar. So this case actually comes with the case accessories and the cooler accessories, because that cooler comes with the case. So where are my AMD standoffs? Comes with included thermal paste. When in doubt, put a bit more than you think. Made this a bit more difficult to myself than I thought. In terms of the way the cables go, it just looks so clean. So clean. I mean, look at it. It's very nice. Okay. This is AIO pump. Still got so much space on the top here. Usually you've got like fans and radiator. Now this is so easy to build on the top when there's none of that, because this is all up there and it's already pre-installed. No screws, no fans on the AIO, which usually takes the most time. So that's cool. Okay, this is the fan headers on the top. I come in from there. CPU fan. Oh, look at this. Like, they've really thought about the cable management. I could like make it go down there, but this really just hides the cables from me, which is so nice. I've got everything plugged in apart from these fans in the front, and I'm gonna take them from the top. Actually, I don't need CPU fans, so this is gonna be just chassis fans, which I can easily take from there. No, this is gonna be too much in the way. Ideally now, because these are all separate chambers, what you want is these two fans actually affect the GPU temperature. So you want these fans to kind of run from the system temperature, not the CPU temperature, because that is completely different. And these fans in there handle that. None of these, what happens inside, do that, which is a little bit of a different thinking that I have done before. So I'll have to think about that. Yeah, I probably will have to put this into there. Perfect, such a good fit. Look at this. Again, you don't see that cable anywhere, but this goes on the back over there, and then we'll adjust it in here. I'm just gonna plug it in. Okay, now it's testing time. The way I do things is, once all of this is built, I'm not gonna do the cable management because I wanna test this first. So let me get a monitor so we can actually see what's happening. Okay, power goes in. Hey. Why is it already turning the PC on? That should not have happened. Well, I guess we're gonna see. Oh, the RGB for that one. I forgot to turn that one on. So this RGB cable there. Ah, look at that. I don't particularly like this. We're gonna turn the color probably white. Since that's working, what we can do is put the beautiful front panel on. Boot, there we go. New CPU installed, so we're gonna click yes. Look at that. It's running the memory at 3600. This is like DDR4 speeds. Let me just install the Windows, BIOS, update everything, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, I've actually been using this PC now for about a week or so, and I am so happy to be back on a desktop, especially with this ultra-wide 34-inch from MSI OLED 300 Hz display. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. But one of the biggest things that I think people miss in videos is how much better the desktop is from a laptop. I test a lot of laptops on the channel. The desktop is just on a whole other level. It's just so much better, especially when it comes to docking and making a workstation. I try to run the 10 gigabit Ethernet, whether on the MacBook Pro or on the ProArt P16 with the 10 gigabit QNAP adapter, USB 4 to 10 gigabit. But it's not the same. Congratulations, if you've reached this part of the video, you're in the top 13% of people's attention graph. And there's more than 50% chance that you seeing this means you're not subscribed. So consider subscribing, hitting that bell icon, liking the video. It would mean a world to us. If you'd like to get detailed access to our internal benchmark database of CPUs, GPUs, SSDs, and so on for creators, then may I invite you to sign up to our newsletter where we send out relevant information a couple of times a month when there is information. I'm not interested in flooding your inbox. This is when there is good information to share for your creative workflow. Then we'll send those emails out. And also you'll get the most exclusive access to some of the behind the scenes, perhaps even giveaways. So scan that QR code or link in the description below. If you've got any urgent questions to me personally, you can always reach out on Minect. I'll always get back to my messages. If you're looking for a new hoodie, may I recommend this one. This is not just any cheap random hoodie. This is a high quality hoodie that you can get. And when purchasing this, we get a small little kickback to help us build what we're building here. My passion is to help creators choose the best tech for their workflow and help them save some money in the process. This is Tech Notice, and if you've reached this part of the video, you have been upgraded to the top 5% of the people who ever see this part. And now YouTube thinks that you'll like this video, and if you haven't subscribed, you can do it on this side. Thanks very much, guys, for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.